Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, ma'am, gentlemen, for your great years of service. General Paxton, especially to you, thank you so much for your many, many years of service. And I think General Allen would also thank you for your service as well. So,
for the record, he wasn't there 100 years ago when the first ACMAC went on duty, contrary to popular opinion.
He came right after that.
You have a good friend in General Allen, sir. So, General Allen, I'd like to start with you, and thank you for your hospitality yesterday as well. I appreciate your time and effort in these matters. But over the past year, we've had a number of combatant commanders that have told us they are either lacking capabilities or they're not just barely able to adequately meet demands. And I would like to hear from you how comfortable you are with the Army's ability to respond to the combatant commander's requirements currently. And then also, do you think that you have adequate capacity to respond to the combatant commander current requirements, as well as if we have an unforeseen crisis that comes up in the near future? If you could expand on that, please.
Thank you, Senator. Let me probably hit a target that everyone at this table is wrestling with, and you've heard it from each of us that we are absolutely committed to delivering trained and ready forces in support of our combatant commanders. That is job one for us. And for the United States Army, we delivered 91% of what our combatant commanders asked for in terms of known requirements for this past year. That sounds good, 91%, that's an A in many schools across the country, but that 9% gap is unacceptable to a combatant commander, and we recognize that. In addition to that, the Army has delivered 64% of the emerging requirements that came out during this past year of their total requirements. So 64% of what they asked for that was unpredicted at the beginning of the year, we delivered. And of course, the problem with that is that came out of our surge capacity build. So while we're trying to generate surge capacity for contingencies, we must continue to answer the emerging requirements that are validated by the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs and the Secretary of Defense. And the end result of that is I do not have a level of comfort that we are ready for a contingency of a major scale against our peer adversaries, and therefore I am very uncomfortable with the trajectory of our drawdown right now. And I do believe it's time for a strategic review of is that what is best for our nation?
Do you have any thoughts on that as well? Do you have capacity?
Thank you, Senator Ernst. I know this will shock you, but my battle buddy and I are pretty aligned here, ma'am. We will continue to always meet geographic combatant commander demand signals. Even within those requirements, as General Allen just talked about, there is a prioritization on the joint staff. So we delude no one in knowing that Pacific Command and Central Command are resourced at a much higher capacity than AFRICOM or SOUTHCOM. And that is of some concern certainly to those two geographic combatant commanders, but also to the services. And in the case of the Marine Corps, when we say fight tonight, we have an equally high pride factor and ability factor to source fight tonight forces. As you just heard me explain to Senator Kane, we've had to already chip into that by saying we're going to resource you and send it over, but you're not going to get quite as many aircraft in the next round of doing that. And we do all of that at the expense of our bench strength. We have tonight forces which are ready, tomorrow night which is ready, and everything else is at some degraded state of readiness, whether it's personnel, training, leadership, equipment, and that is not only mortgaging the future, but that's mortgaging the surge capability to fight an operations plan against a known adversary where we're banking to have good indications and warning, adequate lift, and right time. So I worry about the capability and the capacity to win in a major fight somewhere else right now.
Okay, very good. Thank you, General Allen and General Paxton. General Paxton, if we could just continue the conversation about personnel readiness. The Marines are a small force already, and yet you continue to downsize. And as we look at the pool of ready applicants that are coming into the Marine Corps, we really do want those quality individuals. Can you talk a little bit about how the Marine Corps is facing these challenges in recruiting and retention, and also how do you deal with the challenges of keeping qualified senior leadership in your ranks?
Yeah, thank you very much, Senator Ernst. Two great questions. All the services, I think, are vitally interested in quality applicants, and the amount of high-quality young men and young women in the United States, that pool continues to dwindle. When you look at physical characteristics, you look at academic performance, you look at morals and things like that. So we continue to have a challenge to identify interested and propensed individuals from a smaller and smaller pool. In the particular case of the Marine Corps, we are not having a problem now at all. We have not had a problem for many, many years attracting high-quality individuals, officer and enlisted, regular and reserve, to come into the Marine Corps. So we're very, very proud of our recruiters, our recruiting force, our recruit trainers, and our entry-level pipeline. We do not have a problem with re-enlisting officer and enlisted first term, too. The challenge we see is, as you said, to continue to maintain a high-quality force over time. And there are certain leading indicators in our second-term re-enlistments. Forces, there is a high demand signal for them to train a lot. Forces where we need, we have the authorities for bonuses, but we may not have the money for the bonuses. And there's a demand signal out in the civilian economy. So I think all the services right now are wrestling with the cyber world. We know that we need better defensive cyber capabilities. We know that at some type we need offensive cyber capabilities. It takes a long time to train those individuals. Once you train them and you get them the security clearance, they are highly marketable, and the civilian establishment is making money off of us because we qualify them, we train them, we give them security clearances, and then we need to keep them around. So cyber operators, special operators, there's a handful of folks, pilots. I think all four services will wrestle with the long-term retention of those critical skills, Senator.
Thank you very much, and I just want to echo that. I know it's true in the Army as well. I'm sure in the other services. I struggled as a battalion commander once we found those soldiers that had those special skills, keeping them employed within our units without losing them to other civilian occupations. So thank you very much, ma'am, gentlemen. Thank you for your time here today. Appreciate it. Thank you, Madam.